All right. Welcome to another episode of the Mod Pod. New logo. Everybody just got to look at it. We put it all over Twitter first.
Right there.
I forget it's mirrored for me, so it's that way. New logo. Same old Jose and same old Albert, myself. 79 days away from the NFL kicking off.
Can't wait, man.
It feels like forever. I think this is why we need that spring league football. We need a little bit of something.
Especially here in Texas, man. It's really fucking hot.
Yeah.
Like, we need something good to look forward to.
I think with that being said, let's go ahead and, of course, crack one open.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers, my guy. And, well, let's get into it. Today's episode, again, still 79 days away from kickoff. Still got ample time to go. But what we want to look at today is our thoughts on maybe some of the either coaches, players that may need a big year or are a little bit on the hot seat right now. I think we can both agree both head coaches for the Cowboys and Bears are in dire need of a good year this year.
Yeah, I would say more my team than yours. Dak going down last year was not something that was, that wasn't in the playbook
right
at the beginning of the season. So I think, especially for Nagy, make or break season. And that's why, like, when the news first came out that Andy Dalton was the number one, they promised it to him. I was upset. Like, I was genuinely upset that, we go and put all our eggs in this Justin Fields basket.
Yeah.
We don't want to use it. But some other reports saying that he kind of learned his lesson from last year, where he was saying, like, this is going to be a competition. And it kind of he felt that it kind of split the locker room a little bit. And they were kind of picking, which one they wanted, to roll with. So I think by saying, hey, Andy's our number one throughout this whole time and just let, Andy Dalton be Andy Dalton, and we'll see Justin Fields kind of just come up to the top later on. So I think he's playing it smart.
No, yeah. And he's kind of doing like the PC. We're not going to name a starter just yet. Andy Dalton's still our guy. You got to do that. You got to save face, of course. And you can't throw, Dalton under the bus right away, I guess. But I think it would I wouldn't doubt that we may see Justin Fields. I was skeptical about it at first, seeing him week one, but now, I've never seen so much people in as far as like the Chicago media itself, especially in OTAs, just constantly tweet about the kid, just like how happy they are about him, like how excited they are, how fun he looks on the field already. I've never, to me, that's a telltale sign. Like, I haven't seen the Chicago media that active for a QB in a while.
Yeah, look at who we've had. The last excitement was, Jay Cutler, and we know how that ended. So I really expect big things from this kid, and hopefully it's a lot sooner than later. But worst case scenario, he starts like week 5. Best case scenario, he's our week 1 starter the way I'm predicting. But, it can't get any worse than what it was last year.
Right.
So we're looking good. And I think Matt Nagy, and especially our GM, Ryan Pace, know exactly what time it is. And they have to put up or shut up because they really don't see them being there that long if we start losing games.
I guess for the Bears, what they need to show more is, what can this offense do now that it will have a, more reliable guy at quarterback. What can they do with the functioning offense when they have a great defense on the opposite side of the ball that can ball out? Like, can you just mesh those two together and, muster up some wins? What's good about both for the Cowboys and the Bears is the ceiling's not that high right now. From last season, there's only one way to go up. There's only one way to go, which is up. There's not much worse that you could do from the seasons prior.
No, and I agree. This is going to be a good season for both of us.
Yeah, no, and I'm excited. That's all we can say because we're still 79 days out. It sucks. It feels like it's forever. Basketball can only entertain me so much for the finals. Ben Simmons' ass,
Yeah. We've all seen that.
But no, I think the same could be said for McCarthy. Yes, he has a stable of weapons. I mean, it was just freak injuries all last season that hampered the entire team. But I'm thinking for him, I mean, they got to at least make a playoff push. I think that's the only thing. If no playoff push this year, with everybody being healthy, I see him getting the boot next year. I don't see him being around next year.
Yeah, I think Jerry Jones's patience is a little thin with shit that last year, like I said, it's something no one could have predicted. But I think I'm going to lump in, like, as far as, since we're on the topic of, like, they need a big year or a good bounce back, I will lump in Dak Prescott with, like, Saquon and CMC.
Yeah.
Because they all kind of got hurt unexpectedly, and now what do you think?
Well, I feel like those are like the easy go-tos as far as like who's coming off something. I mean, Dak too. He just signed a big contract. He's coming back healthy, and I mean he's expected to ball out. Like he's the one. Like that's the easy go-to. But no, as far as all them, are we talking about like a comeback player race?
Yeah,
in regards to them.
Yeah, that's why I was hoping them all together, because we kind of expect them to all have like a good bounce back. Like we're expecting good things from them. It's not something that's like, oh, well, we don't know how they're going to come back. You know, are they going to be the same person? I fully expect them to all three ball out.
If I had to put a ranking order, I would say Dak number one. I mean, just because of everybody he has around him. He's got a really good O-line. He's got one of the best receiver cores. As long as the O-line's healthy, Zeke as a running back should be top-tier running back. So I think it's easier for him than the other two. McCaffrey, I would probably put him number two over Barkley, to be honest. Even though his quarterback's going to be Sam Darnold for the Panthers. But we've seen other quarterbacks, other players that leave Adam Gase's cluster shit fest that he has going over there. And they shine, they ball out. I mean, Tannehill there's tons of players.
Yeah, I think I would have the ranking similar to yours, with Dak being number one just because of the position, and he has more impact on his own play. And then I would put, I think I'm going to put CMC in third and Saquon in second.
Okay, that's fine.
I think that the situation in New York is a little bit better than it is in Charlotte.
That's fair.
At least in my opinion.
That's fair. I mean, it's not a new quarterback coming in to trying to establish some type of cohesiveness between a unit, which is what Darnold's going to be trying to do for the Panthers. Danny Dimes is there regardless of his 50-50 play, but at least he's already in an offense he's familiar with, and that takes a little bit of weight and pressure off of Barkley. Now, in CMC's case, I mean, all last year, he literally was the offense. And that's pretty much what got him hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so, I mean, I like Dak number one on that spot. I think still CMC number two, and then I'll keep Barkley number three. But for sure, it's easy to say that Dak should have it in the bag with the weapons and everybody that he has.
Yeah,
in a company with him.
It's going to be almost like a Alex Smith situation.
Right. We're like, you already know who it's going to, right? Yeah. Exactly. But so coaches, players, I'm going to go right into it. For sure, off the bat, Michael Gallup.
Okay.
It's make or break year for him. It's his final year in the contract. If anything, what would probably kind of help him out is if he signed to a team-friendly one-year extension.
Yeah.
Going into the season. That'd probably help him out and then give him a chance to ball out this season and hopefully keep his job, because the way that they're looking at these receivers and the big rookie that they picked up, who's now like the biggest receiver in the group. I mean, that might be his future replacement, ready to get him phased out.
I need a redemption year from him, because I drafted him kind of early last year, and it.
And I hyped him up because that was my guy. That's on me as well.
I know, whatever. I mean, but you know what? I'll go ahead and put Allen Robinson in that bucket as well.
Okay.
Since you went straight with the player from your team, that's a guy from my team who has been just asking for the bag. He wants the extension. He's going to agree to the 1 year with the franchise tag, but I think there's a little bit more incentive for him to stay now than there was last season, especially with, Justin Fields here. And I see him a little bit more active at training camp already. And he's bringing in some of the younger cats into training on an offsite facility, which is with permission.
Right.
We don't want to get him in trouble.
No, I think that's going to be good for Robinson as well. Just like the fan base, he'll get to test the waters for Fields, and it's kind of a good landing for him. He's on the franchise tag. He gets to see for sure if this guy is going to be the quarterback of the future, and if he likes what he sees, then everybody plays their cards right, give him his contract that he deserves, and then you got your star quarterback and your star receiver already locked in.
For sure.
But I love Robinson. He was a beast in fantasy. Beast on the field, run some crisp routes. Very comparable to the Cowboys' Amari Cooper, for sure. Yeah.
So I'll go with the next one. So this is a little situation with these two players where now I'm kind of eager to see how they're going to. One of them, they were both on the same team. One of them is going to a new team, and now the other one's going to be the top dog. And this is Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
So I know Calvin Ridley was kind of looking like the number one already just because of the games that Julio missed, which is, I think he missed like half the season, like 9 games. So we kind of saw an increase there. But now being the clear-cut number one, and I don't see anyone really there to be like a 1-2 punch there. Like I think that most of the offense is going to go through Calvin Ridley, which I think he can handle. But do you feel that he's going to come up with a better season than last season, or you're going to see a decrease?
I think it would be wise to expect a decrease in Ridley's numbers, just because you don't have Julio Jones across from you anymore. You look back on a lot of the stuff for Julio Jones, he's getting double teamed in the red zone. So a lot of that attention is going to now go to Ridley.
Yeah, because he had like 1,300 yards this last season with 9 touchdowns, which is pretty much doubled his production from the previous season, his rookie season. So that's my take on that. And then, you have Julio Jones, like, is he going to thrive?
As far as, are you talking about Ridley thriving or Julio Jones where he's going to be?
No, now Julio Jones with him leaving.
I don't know. They get the tight end Kyle Pitts, who's like a massive freak of nature. Right. But how well do they incorporate the tight end alongside Calvin Ridley? That's the only deal. There's nobody else wide receiver wise on that depth chart that stands out. Russell Gage is just he's a home run hit. That's it. Yeah,
exactly.
He's not going to be a crazy route runner. He's just that straight vertical talent guy, and that's really about it. We'd have to see a lot more out of Ridley, and if he shows out, if he still manages, the same consistency with his numbers, despite Julio Jones being gone, I'd be impressed. But I would expect a little bit of a decline in the numbers going on to this year.
Who has a better season?
Oh man, I think Julio has a better season. He's going on to a little bit of an upgrade from the guy across from him, which Ridley is still amazing.
Yeah, but
now with Tennessee, they have a solid number one receiver there. Name escapes me for right now, but then you have the threat of the run game too.
Yeah,
with Derrick Henry, so. To me, I wouldn't imagine that this may be one of, even though he's into his twilight years now. I still think it could be a bounce back season for him.
And that's why I kind of picked these two, just because I think they both have a lot to prove now, especially with Julio. Like you said, he's getting a little bit older. We're not saying that his performance is declining. Yeah. It's just, can he stay healthy? If he stays healthy, then I see him actually having a really good season, especially with an upgrade in quarterback play, I think, because I think Tannehill right now, the way he's playing right now is better than,
Better than passers. I mean, he's been doing really good. I mean, his stats out there at least definitely top 15, top 10 quarterback. Just looking at stat wise.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just got a better, well-rounded offense to where, I mean, the Falcons, for crying out loud, they picked up Todd Gurley, tried to take a gamble on him. He didn't do anything crazy besides maybe 3 or 4 games where he kind of dipped in over a little over 4 yards per carry. But other than that, nothing crazy or off the page. He's definitely lost a step since his injuries. And that's why he's still a free agent as of right now.
What are you going to do? Hey, he's got the back a couple years back, man. He's not hurting.
So I guess for my next player would be, let's say Carson Wentz. All eyes are going to be on him as far as being the new quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. You go into a situation where you're familiar with the quarterback coach. You're now also you're now going into a little bit of a better O-line situation as well. In my opinion, I think they have one of the better O-lines. They were a little shoddy last year, but I don't know. Everything's kind of an asterisk last year, in my opinion.
I think he's getting a big upgrade in just his weapons. I mean, they have T.Y. Who else?
They got Pittman
and Mo Ali Cox.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty good running back situation there too, with Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. Mr. JTT.
Yeah, and he looked good in his first year. I think he's got a better situation than he did with the Eagles, and so really no more excuses out the window. I mean, his biggest flaw is that he holds on to the ball too long. You could probably get away with that O-line for the Colts, but I mean, who knows there?
Throw as many touchdowns as you did interceptions last year. I mean,
yeah,
that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be what we'll probably be talked about a lot is the success either him or Jalen Hurts has now that they're away from each other.
See, and I don't see him making it out alive out of Philly. I think I just don't see it. He doesn't have the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel like he's going to have a good season next year. And I don't know if that will knock his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to start eyeballing another person to fucking come in, take his place. But I really think that out of those two, Carson Wentz got the better end.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it says something, too, with the Eagles' back-to-back first-round draft picks being wide receivers because they still didn't get it right the previous year.
Right.
We got Arcega-Whiteside, who's been a bust. Rieger, there was a high ceiling for him that he just didn't meet. Now they go and draft. They spend another first-round pick this year on another wide receiver trying to still fill that gap because they haven't found their go-to guy yet.
Hey, did you forget about our boy Travis Fulgham? Don't knock him out.
Yeah, but he disappeared after those 3 great weeks. He disappeared.
Hey, he might reappear again. We don't know.
He's going into his 4th, 5th year now into the league. Everybody thought he was a rookie at one point because he just never saw him.
Shit, I thought he was a rookie.
No, he's been in the league for like 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Yeah,
he's just been floating around there.
Put some respect on his name.
All right, I feel like it's gonna be like a Miles Austin-esque where they just had that really one great showcase and they just kind of teeter out from there.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens. But no, I think the advantage should go to Wentz in this case, and I don't know. I think the Eagles might implode this season. I think it's just the way with coaching is now for them, and you got Hurts going into another year, and they still don't seem like they have an identity yet with him with their QB, with that offense in general.
Yeah, they're going to be a mess, and you're lucking out playing them 2 times, like the way my Bears are lucky to play the Lions. I expect both the Lions and the Eagles to be at the bottom of the division.
I know the Cowboys can at least put up points. It's just, can the defense be a little competitive now under the first year under Dan Quinn? Can the Cowboys defense be competitive under Quinn? And I mean, that's all I need. I just need I'm not asking them to shut down anybody, and I think I
Yeah.
said that before. I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting them to play lights out defense. I just need them to be 40% more competitive than what they were last year. And that would make enough difference on some of these games.
Well, yeah, I mean, y'all had some really close games, and if defense does just a little bit better job than they did last year, then I think right there is, you're switching some of those, at least like 2 losses into the win column.
I think one more player going for actually the Cowboys that I think will have like a lot of eyes on him is going to be Diggs. And because we've shuffled up the cornerbacks, we really got rid of a lot of the, I guess you could say, tenured cornerbacks. Awuzie is already gone now as well. Yep. We lost 2 more starters the previous year, and they're bringing in some of the old faces from the Falcons for Quinn. So hopefully that they mesh well with what they already know. But I think they're potentially looking at Diggs to be that shutdown cornerback, and he showed signs of it towards the end of the year. He had a little bit of a rough start, but as each week got by, the kid kept improving. Yeah,
you saw the confidence start coming in, which is good. That's what you like to see.
And I think it's not that he'll be in jeopardy. I just think that he's going to be highly criticized by a lot of fans. If one guy manages to escape for a first down, or he gets toasted on one route, I just think he's gonna a lot of pressure because everybody's gonna expect him to be, shut down cornerback number 1 this year.
Yeah. You have another person?
No, you go for it.
So I'm going to keep it with the QBs just because we saw a lot of quarterbacks get shuffled. We know that in the trade with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, which team got the better end of that deal. Mm-hmm. And I honestly feel that I don't think that this will be a make or break year for Matt Stafford. I honestly feel that he's going to do well in this position. But I don't know. The Rams seem a little fickle. They might like you right now and get rid of you. So I hope that Matthew Stafford does have a great season. I've always thought that he was a great guy. We always beat him, so made me like him a little bit more, but I think that this is an important season for him as a player to see how the rest of his career is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say that it is going to be a telltale year for Stafford as far as, the guy probably has, good 3 or 4 years left in the tank? But he does have a problem with injuries as well, though. That kid has taken some brutal hits.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I think he kind of fits there with the Rams. He has at least an upgraded receiver core that he's going to be with. He's actually got a defense for once.
Yeah.
The Lions, I don't know, they're stuck in football limbo where they never really improve as a team. They just find a way to just add 2 key pieces but never build around it.
Yeah.
And then, you pick up Goff, and who knows what the hell that situation is going to look like. He was already trying to throw to receivers and could barely make things happen with that core receiver group he had. Now he's going to a downgraded receiver group. I really don't expect much from the Lions this season.
As same. We're on the same page on that. What team do you think has the most to prove outside of the Bucs?
The team that has the most to prove. First thought that comes to me, I think the Seahawks. I think, you're getting, again, another quarterback that's kind of entering that twilight age group to where they're about to start falling off of their prime in the next couple of years. And you have a team that constantly can at least make it to the playoffs, make some type of playoff run. I just think they just got to get something meshing well with that offense, as well as kind of getting that defense. And you spent all those draft picks on getting Jamal Adams, and he really didn't pay off much besides for the times that he blitzed.
Yeah.
As far as coverage, he got burned a few times and got kind of exposed. He didn't have that great of a year coverage-wise. But when it came to blitzing, he was there sacking quarterbacks. But he's there for the blitzes sometimes, but that's not, your primary job, especially when, they had the years of the Legion of Boom that was taken off. there's just answers for defense for that team that they got. It's kind of like almost the same situation with the Cowboys. They have a very high-powered offense, but they have a defense that just doesn't let them stay within an inch of any of these games sometimes.
Yeah. And also, I think if they don't do well, I think they're going to try to pin it on Wilson just because of like the shit that was going on at the beginning of the offseason about him wanting to get traded and stuff. So I think that's more harm than good. We'll see like what that affects as far as like the chemistry within the team. But they're always going to be a contender because Russell Wilson is a fucking monster right now. And, we'll see.
Well, who do you got for your team?
The Green Bay Packers.
Fair. I mean, life without Rodgers, what's that going to look like? You got Jordan Love spouting that he's ready to step in without Rodgers. Like, all right, kid, come on.
Right.
Like, Jordan Love, shaking my boots.
I want to know who is in his ear kind of like chirping him up, getting him built up.
It's
like,
probably
who's gassing him up.
It's probably the coach. I mean, like, you have all this bad blood with Rodgers. Like, who else? I mean, come on. He's probably hyping up like, you're going to be the man. It's your year. Your time to shine.
Where, they show a clip of him throwing the ball into the net and everyone's fucking cheering.
Yeah, was that the one that I sent you?
Yeah.
Where it's like his only completion or whatever. Technically, his only completion or whatever.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with that whole situation. I know that Aaron Rodgers is like my boy Jay Cuddy, and they're hypersensitive men. Yeah. They don't like being rubbed the wrong way.
They really don't. I mean, he's just out there going on vacations with the dude from the Drummer movie. I just don't know that it's just a weird situation now. Like with social media and everything with sports, like I feel like we would have never like gotten this deep into things if it was like the early '90s, mid '80s. It's just so funny to me now.
He looks sickly right now. Like he doesn't look like he's in football shape.
He looks like somebody that would tell me that they're on an all vegan paleo diet or something.
Yeah, and I'm blaming his chick.
And everybody keeps saying that. Like she's been in his ear. Like they said, like there's a little bit more snarkiness from him since he's been with her. Hey, and maybe she's calling the shots. Who knows?
I don't know, man. But Olivia Munn would never have done that.
She would have never. She would have got him at least into a Marvel movie for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Minimum.
You'd be like, I can get you on X-Men. Do you want to go on X-Men?
Boom. Just a cameo appearance. He could have just played himself and just been in one scene.
Yeah.
Would have happened. I don't know. That's just a weird situation. Yeah. A lot of eyes for sure be on the Packers, especially if it is Jordan Helm that is going to be taking over at the helm. Who knows how bad of a shit show that's going to be.
I hope so. Watch he comes in and just fucking kills it. I would die.
I mean, crazier things have happened.
Whatever, man.
And then, so Packers, your team. I have the Seahawks as far as something with the most to prove. What were you going to ask? You were going to say something just right before.
Oh, how big of a factor do you think this whole COVID thing is going to be with the players not wanting to participate in, getting the jab?
First off, I don't care about their outlook on whether if they believe in it or not. I really don't care. I mean, to each their own. It doesn't matter to me. But I feel like it is super impactful as far as how it affects teams because they can be out multiple weeks, and then people around them can considerably be out as well.
Yeah.
They make it to where it's pretty much the rules are kind of like aimed towards, even if you disagree with getting the shot, we're at least going to penalize you into oblivion because you didn't get it. Penalize you and your team. So it's kind of like, just say it's mandatory then.
Right.
To just make it mandatory to play in the league.
They can't say that, Albert. In this culture.
I mean, you got.
The only reason why I said it is our boy Cole Beasley. He's
been going off and
he's been going on.
Dragged on. Which and to me, a lot of the people it's his own opinion. No matter how asinine you may believe him to be, it's his own opinion. Who gives a damn?
Right.
What kind of gets me a little irritated is it's his own colleagues, his own people that are now journalists, retired players that are just dogging on him. If you guys were in the same locker room, you probably would not be doing that. I thought there was a whole brotherhood about that, and now it's just oh, I'm gonna throw him under the bus so I can get some likes from everybody else that's all in favor of it.
No, I totally agree.
And I have my shot, so if anybody asks, so I see both ends of it, but at the same time, I don't care if somebody else gets it. I'll do whatever I think is okay, and then anybody else can do whatever. I'm not gonna judge you because you believe otherwise. It doesn't matter.
Your body, your choice. Firm believer of that. No, I just you made a good point. It's really, it's like this. It's not. I don't want to say fair, but you can see the advantages of just going to get it.
Right.
It's kind of they're forcing you to oh, if you're not going to do it, then this whole season's going to be real shitty for you.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's the way that the rules are done is just they make no sense. They don't really give players an option to just okay, like I mentioned, like I said, either do it or don't. But know that if you don't, you're gonna miss half a season.
Or, they Chris Paul you and out for a couple games.
I mean, it just sucks that all this is going down. There's other states like our state, Texas, that's opened up and the cases have dropped.
Wide open, baby.
And we're not as vaccinated as other states that are not wide open. But yet we still have, even though we have less of a percentage of people being vaccinated, we still have less cases, which can make an argument to herd immunity. But then before getting into all that and making all this another subject, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, again, it just goes to each their own, and it should be left that way.
What I'm really looking forward to is when a superstar caliber person, maybe a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or one of these mega stars from the NFL either catches it or is in a violation, almost how unfair, or I wouldn't say unfair, but you could see the difference between LeBron James going out to a party. Yeah, everyone's vaccinated, right? And then Chris Paul going into the stands, kind of hugging some people, his family members, and then all of a sudden, bang, you're out. It's not the same type of justice.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how they handle. I mean, not a Cole Beasley, obviously, because they could be who?
Let's say week 15, week 16, somebody like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady were to contract it.
And winter season. Yeah.
How big of a fan backlash would you have to handle in order for you to be make an exception for the star player?
It's no, he wanted to go to a fucking restaurant at night, hug some fans, violated protocol. He's out for the playoffs. I just wanted to go to the Waffle House, man. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's just been crazy with all this that's happened, and I don't know. Other than that, there's not really much more else to kind of elaborate on besides the fact to each their own when it comes to it. Do what you feel, whatever. That's really about it.
You got to draft wisely. You got to. I know that's what I did last year. What are the tendencies of this player? Does he like to party?
Does he go to the strip clubs?
Does he go to the strip clubs?
Which players? You might have to incorporate that as well.
Playing 4D chess.
There you go, 4D chess. That took me up. No, hey, that's some good draft strategy for you there.
Facts.
But other than that, I mean, it's still been kind of slow on the news end. I was expecting to see a little bit more transactions going down now with the post June cuts not affecting so much teams cap space or anything like that. It's just feel like it's been slow. Nothing crazy has really been happening. It's just that weird limbo.
Give it another month and shit's about to start cooking up again. people are going to start getting hurt at camp. That's when we make the big bucks. This is when, our minds
everybody
are working.
One more draft knowledge. Do not make your draft until after the preseason.
Oh, for sure.
Do not do it anytime before the preseason. There's some maniacs out there that do it, and I don't know why they would do that. I remember there was one year somebody drafted, I think it was Jordy Nelson, that got hurt like week or the third game of the third preseason game, out for the year.
Terrible.
Yeah, just
don't do that.
Off, I guess. Don't be crazy.
You can mock draft. That's
exactly.
Drafting time.
There you go. Yeah. Just fill up all the crazy mock drafts that are never going to play out in real life.
And now, with there only being 3 preseason games, kind of have to adjust a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Usually,
I wait till like the 4th week.
Yeah,
knowing that a lot of the starters are not going to.
Because it's mostly going to be the four teamers, the guys trying to make the roster.
Right.
Yeah, last week. Any of the starters don't see any type of playing time normally. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting how to see that they handle that, especially from last year where there was no preseason. And we'll have to see if maybe, injuries even take another hike up from compared to what last year was. Last year was a crazy year team throughout the league for injuries. So,
all right, man.
So hopefully not, but we'll have to see what happens. Let's see. Other than that, let's see one more thing. What player on your team specifically for the Bears are you most excited to see this year besides Justin Fields?
Obviously. Actually, I want to get Tariq Cohen back.
Okay.
I think we were missing that little extra explosiveness from our offense. And I think when you have an explosive quarterback like Justin Fields and Tariq Cohen on the field at the same time, I think there's going to be some magic happening. So I'm hoping that everything's been recovering well for him. I haven't heard too much news from him. He's usually, pretty active on social media. He plays a lot of video games. I know that.
He is active on Twitch. I know he does.
Very active. Yeah. So hopefully he has a good bounce back season. So that's the person that I'm excited to see.
Okay. I think for the Cowboys, I'm excited to see what Zeke does with this year compared to last year. I mean, with the fumbling issues, and then all the talks about in OTAs, I keep reading on Twitter of how he slimmed down. He looks very Tony Pollard-esque when it comes to body type-wise now.
I don't give a fuck what you look like. Can you handle the
ball? Can you handle the rock? But I want to see that same 2016 Zeke where he was just trucking people, had that burst. So hopefully that comes back.
You're going to pick him?
Do I have no – wait, who?
If you have the number 1 pick, you're going to go Zeke?
To be honest, I probably wouldn't.
I knew it.
If I had the number 1 pick, if I stick to this tradition of picking running backs, damn, you know what? I don't know, actually. But I take my own – see, that's like me putting just thinking positive. I feel like I'd be drafting with my heart, not my head.
Right.
But if I stuck to it and went running backs, I'd probably go CMC, to be honest. I mean, when it comes to fantasy, I mean, he hits both boxes. He can run. He's still going to be probably the best receiver on the team as well.
Right.
Can't go wrong with that.
Cool.
So, I don't know. Who would you, hypothetically, and I won't use this information against you in our draft.
Oh, it's all right, man. I usually fuck up the first pick anyways. I don't know, man. I feel I usually like going running back first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I still, even though Derrick Henry was a fucking monster last year, there's just something about drafting him number 1 that just doesn't sit well with.
Okay, so if it's not, so let's be realistic. So if it's not CMC, if it's not Alvin Kamara, if it's not Derrick Henry, who should be I think you can make a strong argument for them being first round draft picks.
Right.
I think those 3.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's time to change the strategy and start going receivers because I feel like the receivers lately, since this is a aired out league now, have been overlooked because everybody tends to draft running back heavy.
But that's where it gets a little tricky because of some of the quarterbacks that have switched around a little bit, especially in the Green Bay area. I don't know.
Like, is Devontae Adams still going to be Devontae Adams with Jordan Love throwing to him?
See, that
Fair.
Changes things.
It's going to be an interesting year with all the QB changes, all the drama going on behind the scenes.
Oh, and as you mentioned, we're going to be in it's a sizable league. It has a good pot for it. So you best believe that we're going to be talking shit about we'll give you live updates or weekly updates on
we can bring them on. We can bring them on here and see how
especially on draft day. We're going to make fun of all these motherfuckers.
For sure. Are we gonna out them? Are we gonna black out their names?
No, we're putting
there's just no holds bars.
No, we're putting that shit. They made the decision to pick these people, so they have to live by it.
Okay, fair.
And myself as well. So you feel free to talk shit as I reach around like round 5, 6. That's when I start drinking a little bit, and then I just start Hail Marys.
I think 5, 6 for me is like where I find my gems. Yeah. Those are my players that I may not know it yet. I may think they're going to be flex, but they're probably going to be my starters at one point.
Yeah.
But excuse me. Yeah. 79 days still till it kicks off. Big year for both the Cowboys and the Bears. I can't wait. Me and you will be having beers probably at Stout, watching some of the games, I'm sure.
Or at our house.
Where it's cheaper.
Come on.
No, we'll have to do that, man. I'm excited. I mean, we're both excited for this year. There's a lot of good things happening for both teams, and I can't wait. It can't get here soon enough.
Yes, sir. Until next time, man.
All right, and with that being said.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in. Hit that Shibboleth Hue.